Hey, everybody, welcome back. Look at this. We got the holy trinity of the sports affiliation. We got Joe, we got JC, we got Iggy. You guys already know who these people are, but we're going to tell you just in case you didn't remember right after this. All right, holy trinity of the TSA. Love having you guys. Always a blast. Can't wait to hang out with all of you. I know I've partied with at least maybe I've partied with Joe. I don't remember, but I know JC and I know Iggy has been 3-4 o'clock in the morning when I could handle that. That's getting way past me now. I need like a walker or something to get through. But guys, great having you. I would just let you guys kind of introduce yourselves, tell us where you're calling in from, and then we'll start the questions from there. Joe?
Name is Joe Carlton. From the Boston area. I joined the sports affiliation at the beginning of the year. They had me on the Pros Joe's show, Greg Kellogg and Tip Major's show last year. I was on as a Joe a couple of times. And then a few weeks went by, and Greg and Tip reached out to me, and JC and Iggy all as well reached out to me and asked if I wanted to fill in for Greg while he goes on vacation this year. And so that's how I got involved in the sports affiliation. I was doing Thursday check down with my co-host Rick Bruce Lellis, also a great guy and a good piece of the sports affiliation. He will also be attending. This will be my first time at the Fantasy Football Expo.
Oh, that's why I haven't drank with you yet. That's it.
I'm really looking forward to it. I'm in the poker tournament on Friday. I'm doing a draft night out on Saturday. We got the booth on Sunday. As you know, I'm going to be fully involved. So I'm really.
Do these people know that you have a Poker Stars jersey behind you? Is this fair to be playing in a amateur poker tournament when you've got? You've got a jersey. You've been in the World Series. All right, I'm not going to say anything. Shh, don't tell anybody. All right, JC, what's up, brother? How you been, man? What's going on?
Man, this is going to be year 4, I think, for us, right, Iggy? Year 4?
Yeah, year 4.
Yeah, I think this is our third year with a booth, I believe, or second year. Maybe it's our second year. I think it's our second year with a booth. Okay. I'm JC. If y'all didn't know, I'm the CEO. Got the cat here, Leo.
Dog behind you.
She's a menace, so. But anyways, I'm one of the CEOs for the sports affiliation. We've been around since believe February of 2023. This has been a blast with us getting to just bring people in and help them, find a place in the fantasy space, basically give a platform for anybody that's out there that wants to write or learn how to build content or, like Joe now, he is our head of content. So we've been, trying to build our little, group here into something bigger. We've got the website up. We got the merch shop up. As you can see, I got the 2025 Canton gear.
Can't wait to get my one. Yes. So I had my 24. I couldn't find it. I'm so sorry.
That's all right, man. We're gonna have some fun this year. We're gonna be at booth, I believe, 32. So like right when you come around the corner, we'll be right on the corner. I will have a couple of shirts for sale. We'll have some pins or some buttons. We're gonna have some stickers. We're just gonna hang out. I know Joe and Rick are going to be there for most of the time talking about, what they do, what the sports affiliation's about. We might have some mock drafts going. I know Carla will show up and be there talking. I think she's going to be interviewing Andy Behrens on Monday morning.
Nice. Okay.
That'll be live. But, like I said, we're all about, giving back. We're all about the community. We're all about, everybody being a part. We love everybody and, we just want to have fun and respect everybody and give people an area to just, talk sports or, talk about whatever they want. Carla does her Zumba show on, Friday nights. So, we're just here to have fun and give people an opportunity to shine. So,
yeah, no, I love that. Love everything about you guys. Iggy, my party boy. We've had late nights together for sure. Tell everybody about you and everything you are all about too.
Hey, Bob. Yeah, I'm stoked to be back at the Expo. Thanks for all your hard work, all your family's hard work. that y'all put into this. Nate as well. You know, I
Yeah,
just want
Nate,
to put
for
off
sure. Yeah.
that. And yeah, man, I'm IDP Iggy on the X or the Twitter, whatever you want to call it. And been part of the sports affiliation since we started, JC and I. Happy to have Joe on board. We've gotten a lot of people on there, and a lot of people have gone on to other platforms to do something else. So something I'm really proud about doing that, Bob. But, you know, at the Expo, yeah, come out and have fun. We got expert panels. It's kind of one of my favorite parts of the weekend. Excuse me. And you can go check out the auction draft with Drew Davenport, and I'm assuming Scott Pianowski will be back. I'm not sure, you know. And you just got some Andy. You just heard JC say Andy Behrens. You got Bob Harris. You got Bob Lung. I mean, you got some titans in this industry. There, Greg is going to be there, I believe. So, inaugural Hall of Fame member. So it's just cool to go over there and realize these people are, you know, just like you know, and just like me, and like to hang out and like talking sports and you know, there's obviously so many people that enjoy poker. We have a tournament that Drew Davenport puts on once again. So I'm just happy to be there. Myself, I've been playing fantasy football since 2010. So kind of a rookie compared. I thought I played a long time until I went to the Expo. And everybody there from the 80s and the 90s, and, you know, talk about drafting Emmitt Smith and so forth like that. So yeah, come out,
Marino, 1985.
come out to it. Have a good time. Go out to Centennial Plaza with us, and man, you'll just gel everything right there. Last year, I did sneak in a Zumba dance with Doug and Carla there, so I was pouring sweat.
There you go. Yeah,
come out and have a good time out there. And yeah, that's pretty much. Oh, I will be on the IDP panel.
Right.
The time difference, I believe, 2 p.m. Eastern is when the IDP panel is. I'm thinking. So make sure you come check us out.
That could be right. Great. No, thank you guys for the introductions. Appreciate it. Well, Iggy, you already kind of shared your beginnings in fantasy football in 2010. JC, when did you get started in this fantasy football world? Who pulled you into that? What's your story about of how you got hooked on phonics? Now hooked on fantasy.
So I guess I really got into, you know, more watching football. I mean, I watched a little bit before I joined the military in 2009, but I wasn't really into it. I was more into the car scene and driving, you know, being on the streets and, you know, hanging out with friends. And so I kind of got into it when I got into the military. I went and saw, you know, I went to a couple games here at the Metrodome before, you know, now it's gone.
Yeah.
But, you know, when the Vikings used to play here, I went to a couple of games. You know, it was a good time, but it was in the military. When I was overseas, it was actually harder to watch sports. So that's what made it more fun and more competitive. With the people that I worked with in, you know, in the Air Force, it was kind of fun because we could have like camaraderie within, you know, the people that I worked with and, you know, talk some shit. And, you know, like when we were watching the NFL draft, you know, the NFL draft was at 9 a.m, you know, watching, you know, it was a holiday for us over there for the Super Bowl, which was also 9 a.m, you know, so it's like, it was interesting. And that's kind of how I got pulled in 2012. And from there, it's just, you know, the league that I've had here. My brother-in-law's had a league been going here since 2014 or 15. So that home league's kind of kept me growing and growing. And I just kind of got into the industry by doing graphics. That's kind of how I started doing graphics for some. And then I kind of got in. I did some work with the Untouchables for a little bit, doing some of their graphics. And then, you know, we got to a point, you know, I met Iggy through another guy that, you know, when I was doing graphics, he was doing some work with him. And then we kind of just bonded together and we were like, let's just start doing some work. You know, let's just kind of build our own thing. You know, we got a good start and we know what we're doing. So, you know, we kind of got into it and we're like, let's kind of, you know, be positive. Let's have a positive spin on things and, you know, bring people in that want to come in and kind of learn, you know, what we've kind of been through and what we've learned. So it's just been a great experience. And, you know, now that we are here in this like world with Twitter and with, you know, everybody going to the Expo, it's kind of just really, really reeled me in.
Definitely. Well, thank you again. Thank you for your service. Of course, being out there, keeping us free. Joe, talk about your beginnings here. Patriots fan, I assume, but maybe not.
Definitely.
When did you get pulled into fantasy?
Fantasy football. So I had a friend who was his older brother ran a fantasy football league way back in 1997. I was still in high school. I was a freshman in high school, and we went to his house for a barbecue after we played a flag football game, and we went to his house for a barbecue. Somebody dropped out or didn't show up. There was an open spot. I jumped in, and the rest is history, really. I mean, from there, I ran my own league up until about 2014, and then just couldn't keep it together. And I got to be honest with you, being a commissioner is a lot of work. So I kind of not only that, but I take it like way seriously. Like the one reason why I fell in love with your consistency guide is because back in the day, I used to chart points that exact way for every single player. That way you can, pick out like the spike weeks, who's consistent. You get to really, like, that was the edge back then. We didn't have the internet. We didn't have X, Twitter, all these fantasy analyst websites and all that stuff. So that's when I turned to high stakes, because I took it a little more serious. I wanted to, and then I met a lot of great friends. I learned so much from doing that, playing against top level competition. And that's kind of where I was molded, really. I put in my profile, I'm NFFC molded. I play on that platform. And I had some success in 2018, and I've been rolling off that prize that I got ever since. So that's perfect, where I'm at.
So in the pros versus Joes, are you a pro or are you a Joe? It sounds like you actually are both sides.
So I'm not in that tournament.
What?
I'm not.
Well, you should be one of them. I mean, if you're a high stakes guy or you're a pro.
You know what it is? What it is? That's run by the FFPC, and I'm not a big fan, and I've been outspoken about it. So
there you go.
So I'm guessing that's why I haven't been invited to that.
You're going to have to be nicer to Alec and Dave and all the boys. Sorry. No. JC, I know you said 2010, but who got you into it? Who brought you into it in 2010?
Me? It was I went to college later, and my neighbor was a huge Eagles fan, still is. When they won their first Super Bowl, I got like a 10-second call of just him screaming. And then that was all of it. And but he convinced me. I really didn't want to play. I was like, man, I just moved here, I'm trying to figure everything out. He's like, come on, man. He's like, just come play with me. Like, you know too much about football to not enjoy fantasy football. Right. And I was like, okay. And then, same thing. Like Joe talked about, of 1 week of me kind of doing that. I had Aaron Rodgers 2010, my first pick, one of the best years of his career, 2010, 2011. So, he did it 1 year. That's the only year I never played with defensive players. So I was like, Mark, you're a terrible commissioner. Kind of like Joe talks about. I put a lot of effort into being a commissioner. I think it's a fun league, but it's fun for me personally. And so I incorporated IDPs next year because I really didn't know much at that point. I was like, why didn't we play with IDPs, Mark? Everybody else is playing with them. They're an option. You come to find out, not everybody was.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you think everybody was. You're like, wait a minute. No.
But we set that up, and I've been a commissioner ever since. 16-team leagues for most of that. I try to keep my home league at that if possible. But Fantasy Football Sevens is just an extension of that, which is a charity league for Kawasaki's disease. Joe's in it, JC in it, Bob's in it. Bob's a vet of it. He's been in there a few times making the playoffs. So it's challenging.
There, and I keep falling out.
It's hard, man.
Yeah, you run into some stiff comp there once you get to that. Custom schedule. You play your division to open and close the year. Then the top 2 teams per division go to the playoffs. So you're going to have a rival after that, pretty much.
No, it was
how that goes. So I like that. I like the storyline of fantasy football. And I went to the Expo my first year. Just as fate happened to have it out. Gary Davenport, one of the first people I saw. I couldn't park. I didn't have any change. It's kind of overwhelmed, like driving up to the DoubleTree, and Dwayne McFarland's one of the first people I talked to, telling me where to park and stuff. I was like, man, this,
and now you're a veteran. Now you're telling everybody what to do. Park around the corner, back there. That's a good spot.
Yeah, free parking here. Park, after 5, so forth.
Pay that,
but, I worked out with Gary. Got invited to the Kings Classic, which you host, and an original member of the IDP there. It just so like I said, fate had the first person I talked to is literally the godfather of IDP, kind of. So
and dresses like it too.
Yeah.
And for those who know, they know.
Exactly.
And if you come to the Expo, you will see why on Sunday why we call him the Godfather of IDP, or just the Godfather at this point. I mean, let's be phased. I mean, Anyway,
down to earth guy. Don't let the name fool you. Down to earth guy. Just like most everybody.
Nicest, one of the nicest people you'll meet for sure. JC, you talked a little bit about how TSA all came together here, but why don't you kind of finalize it? Talk about how you've started it, how it came about, and then I think you talked a little bit about what you're doing with it, but maybe just to expound a little bit on the sports affiliation and how it was created, and then now what it's out there doing for the fantasy public.
Well, I'd say, I guess the first time that Iggy and I were at the Expo, would have been 4 years ago, we kind of came together and we were like, let's kind of start thinking about building something here. And we did, it wasn't really official because we were working for another company together.
Mm-hmm.
And things just weren't working out with that company, and we were like, it's time, let's just move on, let's do our own thing. And we kind of created something, and we had a couple people that were there with us as well. And we eventually just merged into something like this. And I was like, all right, well, let's just come up with a name. We want to be affiliated with sports, so we want to do all sports. We just don't want to do just football, because we talk basketball. We got
Joe's got the poker show.
yeah, we got poker show. We got Zumba. Sometimes we got coach that talks baseball. So it's a little bit of everything. So let's be affiliated with all sports, and anybody that wants to be affiliated with, that's kind of how we came together. And then as time has kind of gone, we did a lot of stuff first on Twitter Spaces, and that's kind of how we got our start.
Mm-hmm.
We were doing like watch parties or listen alongs, basically, where we would just talk about the game. Everyone would hang out, and we would just have some fun, and we would just do some like random betting where we were doing this thing called pizza parlays. It was basically you would build your pizza, so 3 toppings on your pizza, and then pick 3 teams that you thought would win that week. And then we would just kind of keep that along the year. And it was just kind of our fun thing. We'll probably get back to that again, but that's kind of how we kind of started our little camaraderie of getting people together. And, and I think that what kind of happened with our community is like people kind of just sucked right to us, like we have that really positive vibe, and that,
Absolutely.
we want to help people grow, and people just started seeing that. And we had someone like Wendy Early used to work for us, and she moved on. Now she's with Women of Fantasy Football. Who else really worked with us that kind of moved on? I know now Ronnie
Tip's still
Evans.
with us, but he's got another gig. Forgot with who. Football guys, right? So.
Oh yeah, Tip Major. Yeah, he's going to be coming back and doing some more shows. I know, Ronnie Evans was kind of doing some stuff with us for a little bit. He was making some videos and stuff for us.
Oh, and he won the poker tournament, so no pressure, Joe. You got to get it back.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
In the TSA house there.
We will keep it in the TSA house. I'll do my best.
Don't let him use those AI bots to help him.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, Iggy and I kind of just have been lucky to have good people come into our circle, and we've been able to grow. I know we've been slowly growing, but that's kind of what we want. We want that natural growth. We want we want to stay around for a long time. And we've kind of been building a merch. The merch has been coming out slowly. That's been a kind of a big thing. I was doing some cards for a little bit, and I'll get back into that. But like our big thing during the season has just been like watch parties, hanging out with people, inviting people to an area where they can just come and hang and talk.
Yeah, I've been on a few for sure.
It's just about having a good time. That's what we wanted to build. And, now we got the website. And, Iggy's writing on there every single day about, his mano y mano. So he's got, linebackers, running backs, how he's got them ranked out. And, in the season, we got a lot of stuff on the website. Now we got more and more shows that are coming out. Joe's got another show he's going to be doing. I know Carlos now got 2 shows. Rick was doing some shows. He was doing the Give Back show, which was awesome because he was doing a bunch of charity. Every single charity that was out there that did a charity, fantasy football, or any kind of fantasy thing he was trying to get into, and bump these people up into an area to just talk about what they're doing too. So we're just been growing, and it's nice to have a lot of positive people in our circle, because that's what we want to keep. We want to keep a positive space so people feel like they can come and talk to us whenever. So that's what we're all about.
No, I love it. And like you said, you guys are the best. You guys have done such a great job of doing that. We all talk about the camaraderie. We all talk about the fantasy community, how we help each other, and you guys just take it to a whole new level. And
Appreciate that.
we thank you so much for that. So let's talk about the Expo and what you guys have done over the last 3 or 4 years. Talk about your experiences there. I mean, Joe, sorry you're left out of this one. We'll get back to you because this is your first year, but I'm sure you've heard the experience these guys have had. So Iggy, let's go to you. Talk about your experiences that you've had first year, since then. Share any quick stories, cool things that have happened to you, people around us, that has happened at the Expo.
Yeah, one of the most exciting people are Froton, man. I saw him jump up on the stage on the karaoke table. Actually, I think it was like a table.
No, he jumped up on a table. Yeah, the
Table.
Hilton wasn't very happy with him at the time.
I mean, he was so
Good.
on it, which I don't. That's how I like Froton. I don't want him any other way. Bringing the wiffle ball bat, of course. Just like little oddities like that. But the best thing is definitely just having conversations and meeting people and people being so approachable. My first year, I drove all the way from basically the border of Utah and Colorado all the way to Canton and back. And it was cool because I've never seen that part of the country, but it was life changing for me. I mean, I can't describe it any other way. I heard Tip say the same thing last year when he went, and just you get to talk to all these people, and there's just such like an exalting feeling. That's the best way I can say it, because you're just getting like this uplift and all this collective, like people are just so happy, and it's like we look forward to this, and that feeling is so contagious while you're out walking around. Going to the Hall of Fame, if you get time, go to check that out. That's a spiritual experience if you love football.
Yep.
And then, like I told you before we started recording, Bob, hanging out, we were at the bar. They're like, hey, you guys got to, we're closing. All right. And then we moved it to a little table. They're like, hey, you got to be out of the restaurant. All right, you guys got to be out of here. And so we went to the little guest area and just listened to those conversations. JC and I were almost like a fly on a wall at that point. I can't remember everybody's names because it was 3:00 in the morning, but
I know Lauren Carpenter was there. That's the only, you and Lauren are the only ones I remember. I'm sure there were others, but there may have been alcohol involved. So memory.
But those are the things I kind of look forward to, hanging out with Gary, stumbling back from whatever that little place is
gorgeous.
We go to that's 2 blocks away the first night.
Gorgeous.
Yeah. And just the whole Centennial Plaza is so cool. I mean, that was one thing I'll share real quick. And you go into Canton, the birthplace of football, okay? And there are pretty loyal Browns fans there, including our guy Bob. All right. And when we went there, the first year we went to Centennial Plaza, they had the Browns game on. They were playing live, and I can't remember the rookie, but he picked it off and ran back for a pick six. And to see the crowd that was at Centennial Plaza, not necessarily there for the Expo, but just to see their joy of watching a pick six in the preseason. And, like there was a complete stranger talking to me, played college basketball against BJ Armstrong, talking about y'all's wonderful fishing y'all have around Canton, Ohio. Complete stranger. All right. Yeah. And when that pick six started happening, we embraced each other and we're jumping together. And I was there with the Browns for a team I've never rooted for, let's say. Exactly. But I don't know how. It's just football, and it's good energy, and you're getting to talk fantasy football with everybody. Fantasy baseball chatter gets in there. I mean, it is just such a great time with such great people. I can't really nail down, I can't phrase it in like 1 or 2 sentences, but it's an exalting feeling, and you get to have these awesome conversations and awesome moments, and it gets real interpersonal. And just JC and I, we've been this will be our second year to be bunking together, and that's kind of an interesting experience as well. So
got it. JC, you want to share any stories that he didn't come up with?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think you're talking about the going to the Hall of Fame, but I think that the day we went, like at the end of the day, it was like 30 minutes left, and we literally went in and there was 0 people in there. So it was really nice to have like the whole Hall of Fame to ourselves and walking into the bust room and just complete silence, and it was just like breathtaking. It's like overwhelmingly amazing, whoa, But that was like one of the another thing, the first year that we were there it was 4 years ago. We got to be on the field. That was a crazy
for the flag football. Yeah,
flag football. Just being there a week after the Hall of Fame game was there. Like literally, there was football players here a week ago playing a game. Like that was just that. I think another thing was really fun. I got to pick up Scotty the King Angle from the airport and hanging out with him. And that same year, I think it was 2 years ago, that was the Friday night where it rained at Centennial and everyone was stuck there. And I was stuck with Scott Angle and Andy Behrens, and just sitting there listening to them talk. And Andy Behrens, I heard Ronnie Evans was like egging him on. He's like, "You need to change your player," because Behrens had kept talking about he was so into Nick Chubb that year, and he's like, "All right, I'm changing Nick Chubb to number 1 right now." And like as we were sitting there, he changed his rankings. We're like, "Yeah," like.
Love it.
So like that stuff like that, or like, the late night stuff, man. The late night stuff is crazy. Don't just go to bed. I'm telling you, like just get out there and be adventurous because you'll never know what you get into. Like us going to play poker. And
how did I not talk about that?
We left George's and went to a big, awesome party. And it wasn't really a party. It was just a bunch of guys, playing poker downstairs. And we played the longest game of 8. What was it? 8 ball?
Yeah.
9 ball. It was the longest game of 9 ball.
It was embarrassing.
We got Mexican wrestling on the TV, and
it was
like 13 of us into a minivan. It was crazy.
We were in there like jigsaw Tetris pieces. Okay, and that is not an exaggeration. So
it's like clowns in a clown car. You just see how many
more like sardines in a can.
All right, Joe, we're gonna go to you. What stories have you heard from these guys that they haven't mentioned that you want to now?
I guess just meeting some of the bigger people in the industry. And, you're friends with these people, throughout the year on social media. And you wouldn't think that creates such a close of a bond, but it really does. And I think that's why this event is amazing, because we get to get together face to face, hang out with each other. It's a few days. And it's something I'm definitely looking forward to, just interacting with some of the bigger names in the industry, I guess, and people I interact with but have never met before, and really looking forward to it.
Cool. No, and they will be here. I mean, JJ Zacharias and Andy Behrens, let's see, Scott Pianowski, Matt Harmon, Michael Florio, Marcus Grant, Pat Fitzmaurice. Gosh, I can go on and on. Everybody that I always tell people when they're like, I'm like, do you play fantasy? They're like, yeah. I go, who do you follow on the internet to get your information? Well, they follow whatever, Dave Richards, Marcus Grant. I'm like, yeah, they'll be there. They're like, really? And I'm like, yes. They're like, oh, okay, cool. I'll be there. But they just, it's hard for them to believe because they're like, wait a minute, they're coming to Canton? I'm like, yes. Where else would they go, right? All right, so last question, guys. I'll put it in your hands. What do we got planned for the sports affiliation booth? I think JC dropped a few hints. Anything else fun you want to mention before we kind of close out?
I just, like I said, I know Joe and Rick are going to be there for a bunch of the time. Okay. I just want them to get in and kind of talk to people that are like walking around, and like it's wild. Like Joe, you won't understand like how much talking you're going to be. Like one thing I'll say about the expo is by Sunday night, when we're actually, I guess, Monday morning, because it's usually about 4 or 5 when we're going to bed in the morning. Right. I can't walk or talk. That is how much talking and walking I do at the expo.
Amen, brother.
Like I said, take advantage of the experience. So especially on Sunday when you're walking through there and you see all these booths that are there, just get there, talk to people, understand what they're about, just mingle. And you'll see that, Joe, at the booth, man. People are just going to walk up and want to talk to you a bit about everything. And just talk about the shows, what we do. And, we're going to be doing some, like I said, I want to do some mock drafts. We'll have a TV out there so people can follow along on our mock drafts. And I just want, like I said, we're all about interaction. We want to have fun and we want people to be involved. That's why most of our shows are live shows. So that's what we're going to be doing at the expo. If anybody sees us out there, we'll probably be wearing swag. We'll just be hanging out. Feel free to come and talk to us because, like I said, I am all about having fun and talking. And if anybody's looking for work, we're always looking for writers. And if anybody that wants to learn how to do anything out there, it's a good place. I mean, we have a platform, we have, benefits for what we do. And, it's like we're a good place for people to get a start in the industry, get your foot in the door. We know a lot of people, I guess you could say.
Yeah, no, definitely. All right. So guys, we're going to go, Joe, you first. Tell everybody where they can find you on, obviously TSA, but also on your socials.
So I'm on X at Points by Hand Carlton. It's right there on the screen. There's no O in Carlton. There wasn't enough keys, so I had to take something out there.
Got it.
Oh,
Right. Cool.
And I have my show Aces Up podcast, and I'm going to be starting a new show during the season, and we're going to have only high stakes people on there. We're going to just basically share our thoughts, go over some of our teams, some waiver, what we're doing, what we're planning for the following week with waiver wires, who we might be benching, who we might be starting. We'll get into matchup talks. That's going to be a good one because it's only going to be real sharp people on that one.
Nice.
Looking forward to that.
I love it. Iggy, where everybody find you at, brother?
Yeah, I'm IDP_Iggy on Twitter or X, like JC said. Got the Mano y Mano series. 31 days to the NFL kickoff, Bob. It's not far. Closer to that for the Expo. And you can find my work there. I also have work at the Fantasy Alarm as well. I do some IDP writing over there and a lot of NBA stuff for them. So, but we're talking football for me over here. If you want to talk basketball tomorrow at the Expo,
What'd you say it was?
please come up and talk to me about it. I love talking all sports. I used to play a lot of poker. I don't think I would hold up well against the greats, but I definitely used to whip my friends' butt.
You said it was what, 36 days to opening day?
31
days. All right, well, we're 31 hours away.
Thursday, people at Sports Affiliation. We usually have watch along first half bets. So I'm hoping to continue that. Usually the Thursday check down with Joe, like we talked about. Sometimes we like to just roll it right into the Thursday night football because, as you know, Bob, starting out with a good Thursday night, getting some good points, really just makes you feel better. I'm not sure it's going to help you win, but it sure makes you feel better.
That's for damn sure. Yeah, if you're going to start off with, I think 1 year, I might know if it was last year before, but I had, I think it was a Cincinnati Baltimore game, and I think it was this past year, but I had Burrow, Chase, and Henry. And I think I had 100 points between the three of them by the end of the game. And I was like, all right, I'm good. That doesn't happen often, but boy, that was sweet to wake up.
Great feeling, right? You can look at next
100
week, start
points.
looking at waiver pickups. I mean, it's a good way to start it.
Yeah. So, JC, where are they going to find you, brother?
You can find me at JC Money Design on Twitter. You can also find me on our website. I'm going to be writing some more articles this year, get back into writing some stuff for the Vikings. I've just been doing a Vikings article on our website, and we're going to be probably getting a NFC North little show going. So we can talk a little, smack between each other, because Iggy's a Packers fan, I'm a Vikings fan, and Greg's a
Michigan fan. So therefore, roots.
I'll let you know about it. Trust me.
Yeah, he's a Michigan fan, so he just roots for Minnesota because JJ McCarthy's on the team.
Yeah. I like that. And if there's one team that I like in that division, it's the Chicago Bears. So
there you go. I'm going to root for the Lions.
You can also find us on our website, sportsaffiliation.com.
All right.
We have a swag. Check it out at it's called affiliatedswag.printful.me. I'm going to be putting a bunch more stuff up on the website. Check that out. And on Twitter also, you can find the Sports Affiliation at the Sports of Philly, AFFILI. Yeah. Also check us out on YouTube because, like I said, we almost have a show every day, Monday through Friday right now. So we're very active.
All right. Well, gentlemen, thank you again for joining me tonight. Thank you again for being a part of this for the last 4 years. Can't wait to see you guys. Sure, we'll have a few drinks together Friday, Saturday, Sunday, somewhere in between. So for the Sports Affiliation, that's Joe, that's JC, that's Iggy. I'm Bob Lung. Take care. God bless. We'll see you soon.
Thanks for watching. Lock in your 2025 football tickets now at thefantasyfootballexpo.com. Hit subscribe and check out one of these excellent @FF Expo videos next.